Hey friends, Timmy here. I know I don't belong on this side of the camera, but trust me, you're going to want to see this. I'm here in Seattle, Washington at the Museum of Pop Culture. There's all kinds of fantastic stuff inside. Let me show it to you. Not exactly a con, but trust me, it's worth a look.
Okay, before I get into any of this, I gotta give the spoiler alert. If you're planning a trip to Seattle and are going to visit MoPop anytime soon, you probably want to skip this video. I'm pretty much going to show you the whole thing. I know museums change their exhibits from time to time, but it looks like to me a lot of this is here to stay. You've been warned. Side note, I'm a shutterbug, so you'll see more pictures than video. I still think it's worth your time. Now that's out of the way, a little history on the Museum of Pop Culture. It opened in 2000 under the name EMP. Now, I know from The Matrix that's something that they used to combat the mechanical squid thingies, an electromagnetic pulse. Nope, it was the Experience Music Project. Later, it added a SciFi Hall of Fame and has undergone a few different name changes until November of 2016, when MoPop, or the Museum of Pop Culture, was decided upon. It is considered to be one of the ugliest architectural things in the entire world. So what does a pop culture museum contain? Well, it's still heavy on the music influence, and rightfully so. That's always been a part of our popular culture. More on that later. Science fiction, fantasy, horror, video games, movie buffs, the list goes on. If it's something that a nerd is into, there's a little bit of everything here. We started in the horror area, and while I'm not the biggest fan of the genre, it was interesting. There were a few things that I recognized and loved immediately. Still not sure how a mogwai is a scary thing though. Immediately following was the sci-fi area. I freaking love this. Classic stuff. Star Wars, Mork from Ork, Doctor Who, The Fifth Element, so much more. There was something for everyone here. I immediately thought of my buddy Rick whenever I saw the Blade Runner stuff. Enceladus, aliens, all the things. I also wondered how jealous my boy Alejandro was going to be at all the awesome Battlestar stuff that I saw there. If it seems like there is a huge, influential property missing from the sci-fi area, there's a reason. We'll boldly go there next. Yep. One of the biggest displays in the museum is Star Trek. I really wish that Jeremy and Sarik could have been here with me. We'd explore until we were exhausted, then hide out in a Jeffries tube and maybe have a nap. So much Star Trek that it was a 2-story exhibit hall. It was massive and wonderful. All except for that one guy. I saluted his insufficient data decapitated head. Asshole. Next, we beam down into a new realm. I don't think that we're in Kansas anymore. The fantastic world of fantasy included some fan faves such as Lord of the Rings, art and literature, and an inconceivable favorite, The Princess Bride. There was even the helm of a guy who called Arthur a silly English knigget. Wow. Music. Currently there are displays on Jimi Hendrix and his travels, and that of a photographer who was with Ziggy Stardust for years. I sure wish that Elizabeth Ann could have been here for this one. The David Bowie installation was both fascinating and eerie all at the same time. Another throwback to its roots was a huge collection of guitars. Of course, in Seattle, they had to have one from Cobain. Final stop on the Tunes tour was the studio area, where people could literally make their own music. An indie games area sponsored by Nintendo gave visitors both history and hands-on playing time. Very cool. And a special installation on Jim Henson made my family incredibly happy. The wife is a lifelong Muppets fan, as are a lot of us GeekVengers. This exhibit went beyond what we know as The Muppet Show and Sesame Street into Henson's feature films such as The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. Again, we're missing David Bowie, but this time as the Goblin King. Sadly, Henson isn't part of the museum's permanent collection, but I'm really glad we got to experience it. Finally, the Hall of Fame. Of course, there were dozens of worthy entrants here. My favorites, Lucas and Williams. I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. Somebody tell Hamill that they found the hand. Spielberg, Serling, Asimov, Nimoy, Tolkien, and an RPG. There was even a display with Ridley Scott and James Cameron that featured the original script from the chest-bursting alien scene. Amazing! Movie buff, sci-fi nerd, musician, trekker, no matter what your favorite geekiness, there's a chance that you can see it at the Museum of Pop Culture. Thanks for taking the trip with me.